Every time I was standing in line at the store, I was scrolling, stuck in traffic, scrolling, at work, scrolling. In the morning before getting out of bed, I would check Instagram. In the afternoon, waiting for the kids at school pickup, scrolling again. The day would go on and on and on. Boiling water in the kitchen for dinner, scrolling, just really at any moment, I'm on Instagram. So it was obviously a major distraction, almost like a heroin addict looking for a fix. And I know that seems hyperbolic, but that's what it really feels like. And this is what the social medias want. Welcome to Simple Weight Loss for Busy Moms, the podcast that cuts through all the social media noise and gives you real strategies to lose weight without fad diets or complicated plans. I'm Amanda Ford, and I teach busy moms how to use calorie tracking, simple nutrition skills, and strength training to finally lose the first 10, 20, or even 30 pounds and keep it off. If you're tired of starting over, overwhelmed by your schedule, or wondering if lasting weight loss is even possible while raising kids, you're in the right place. Each week, you'll get practical tips, tough love motivation, and repeatable routines that fit into your real life so you can feel strong, confident, and in control. This is Simple Weight Loss for Busy Moms. Let's get started. Hey friend, welcome back. I'm your host, Amanda Ford, and you're tuning in to the Simple Weight Loss for Busy Moms podcast. This is the first official episode with the new intro. So what do you guys think? Do you love it? I sure hope so. You may have noticed the podcast art has also changed along with the name of the podcast. Lots of changes going on over here. I'm going to be doing an episode about that another time as a little check-in episode, but I want to jump right into today's topic. Today's topic is extremely personal, and I have a feeling it's going to touch a tender spot in most of your hearts as well. But that's the cool thing about podcasts. You can actually hear another person's story that you may relate to, and it feels like you have a friend right there with you, kind of going through the same thing. So I hope that when you listen to all my episodes, you feel like you have a friend in your ears, but especially with this one, because I think that this is a topic that is not talked about enough, and I hope to bring it to the surface and help any of you who may be struggling and stuck in this space. So today we're going to talk about social media addiction and how it's holding you back from achieving not only your weight loss goals, but pretty much everything else you want to accomplish in your life. And I'm not joking at all about that. It is crippling. It's keeping you stuck. And I can say you're addicted because I know that most of you are, and you may not realize it. The reason I know is because I am totally addicted to Instagram, 100% hardcore. It is quite sad, but I'm trying to come out of that. And you might be listening to this thinking, oh, you're taking this way too seriously. Like social media is fun and it keeps us just entertained. Yeah, true. But I was able to recognize that it was holding me back in a lot of places. And we're going to talk about that today. So if that's you, I want you to stick around. If it's not you and you do love social media and you want to keep using it, you don't think you have an addiction, that's great. But I do encourage you to keep listening because I really feel we all should give up social media and use it just for brief information communication, like for the kids' schools and sports practices and things like that. That's just a personal opinion. But let's talk about social media addiction and my story and some ways that you can come out of this for yourself on the other side and finally hit your weight loss goals and anything else that you have set out to achieve in your life. So first though, make sure you subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Thank you for everyone who's watching over there. And don't forget to follow the podcast on your favorite applications. So Spotify app, iHeartRadio, Amazon. And please leave me a 5-star review over on Apple. That would help me so much. And be sure to share your favorite episode with your BFF. It really helps me out. So thanks so much in advance. And I especially encourage you to share this episode with your BFF because Our BFFs are probably our number one go-to in our DMs. I'm thinking of my BFF from like forever. I've known her since I was 12, and we have a wild and crazy DM section with reels that would just blow your mind, the things that we find. Anyway, now I know I'm probably going to get some nasty messages in the YouTube comments or even on my social saying, "You're asking me to follow you on YouTube? That's social media. You're a hypocrite. What are you talking about?" Well, no, YouTube is long form content. Yes, they have YouTube Shorts now. And for today's discussion, you can definitely include YouTube Shorts if that's your go-to social media platform, because yes, it's basically the same as Instagram Reels or Facebook Stories or TikTok. But long form content like this episode that's on YouTube, that's going to be anywhere from about 40 minutes to an hour, isn't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like X, also known as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok. And Pinterest isn't actually a social media website. It's a search engine. But you guys, can I get some love in the YouTube comments? Like, listen, I can get sucked into pinning within, I don't know, maybe 30, a half a second. How do I end up pinning wedding dresses and Christmas table centerpieces in the middle of July? First of all, when my goal was to find a weeknight dinner recipe, I don't know how that happens. One, it's not time to plan for Christmas, and I've been married for almost a decade. I have no need at all for a wedding dress anymore. So it is so crazy. I love me some Pinterest, but Pinterest is just as time consuming and focus sucking as our traditional social media platforms. So beware of Pinterest as we talk about social media addiction in today's episode, you guys, because it is straight nuts out there. It's wild and crazy. So I've been hinting that I was going to do an episode on why I left social media ever since I started this podcast. In fact, my show notes used to include a little message saying I wasn't updating my Instagram in an effort to refocus my energy on major goals like starting this podcast and spending more time with my family. I just celebrated the podcast's first birthday. Happy birthday to the podcast. And because of what it took for me to actually launch it, it feels fitting to share how letting go of social media helped me finally push the launch button and hit that major goal of setting this podcast up and running. I know this isn't a business podcast or a how to start a podcast, but the essence of my message around social media is the same no matter what the goal is. So our goal on the Simple Weight Loss for Busy Moms podcast is to lose weight. So this podcast's sole purpose is to help you lose weight and keep it off while managing the busy lifestyle of being a mom. So listen up. Social media steals your focus, it steals your time, and it steals your connection to reality. It is a complete waste of time and holds you back from your weight loss. And something else to add is I left social media for about 8 months, which I'm going to share about here in a minute, but I eventually came back. And now I can see so clearly the addiction literally crumbling my focus yet again. It's very obvious this time. So why did I leave social media in the first place? Well, I had been planning, outlining, and creating, drafting episodes for this podcast, trying to create a blog for years, but I was stuck and behind in launching because I was so intensely focused on ensuring I also had a social media presence. Not having a social media presence seems wild and crazy when you are trying to promote and gain podcast listeners, right? So I was very concerned about building up that social presence even before I was publishing episodes, because I was like, oh, people will find me through my social. Well, I would spend hours scrolling through Instagram to get content ideas. I'd spend all my free time filming B-roll or looking for opportunities to capture video content. And I'd scroll mindlessly through Instagram without even noticing how long it had been. So completely neglecting the goal and required actions that really mattered, right? So launching the podcast, recording episodes, editing episodes. None of that was happening because I was only focused on building the social media content. And I just have to share really quick. This is embarrassing, but I feel like I have to say, I'm coming off a horrible night's sleep because last night I was scrolling through Instagram in bed, which I had quit for a long time during my 8 months off, and ended up staying up till 2:30 in the morning this morning. So I'm at this moment running on 4 hours of sleep because I just kept scrolling. The time just flies by. 1 minute it's 9:30 and all of a sudden it's midnight. Now, I'm pretty sure you're probably like, girl, put your phone down, get your life together. What's wrong with you? And that's what I feel like in my mind, like as I'm doing it, but I just keep doing it. That's why I know it's addict behavior. It's wild. It's not easy to just put it down. These platforms are intentionally designed to keep us scrolling for hours. And to be honest, I'm a sucker for a good golden retriever video. Does anyone follow a guy in his golden? So Teddy, he's like the most famous golden retriever on the planet. I love Teddy. I have to know what's going on with Teddy. I have golden retrievers. So, I'm all in on any golden retriever video, and they're quite hilarious dogs. Healthy recipe reels, like I go hard on those. Hair tutorials. I barely even do my hair. I don't know why, but I love hair tutorials. And really any random reel that's going to make me laugh, like I want to see it. I want to see the weird stuff, the funny stuff, the nostalgia stuff. That stuff's really funny. Just really anything, right? It's so entertaining and it is hypnotizing. I think that's another word. It's hypnotizing. So about 1.5 years ago, though, I could tell I was really in a distracted space with my social media, so much so that I began to recognize it was truly an addiction. Every time I was standing in line at the store, I was scrolling, stuck in traffic, scrolling, at work, scrolling. In the morning before getting out of bed, I would check Instagram. In the afternoon, waiting for the kids at school pickup, scrolling again. The day would go on and on and on. Boiling water in the kitchen for dinner, scrolling, just really at any moment, I'm on Instagram. So it was obviously a major distraction, almost like a heroin addict looking for a fix. And I know that seems hyperbolic, but that's what it really feels like. And this is what the social medias want, by the way. If you think about that, it's quite disturbing and frustrating. And it makes me feel like I'm in some sort of little prison with them. So I am determined to break out. I'm determined to help you break out. The big issue for me was that this addictive behavior was destroying my sleep, like I just mentioned, my focus, my time management, and keeping me from my goals and essentially from my family. I hate even saying that, but it was, in a sense. Now, I wasn't like huddled in a corner, scrolling social media like a crazy person, like not paying attention to anyone. That's not what I'm getting at. I was obviously taking care of myself and my family, but I would call it functional addiction. So more importantly, it was and still is a terrible example for our kids. I really wanted to get this podcast launched, and I saw clearly that social media was standing in my way, but I was too scared to give it up. I was stuck in fear of missing out and fear of not being seen, right? Because I was like, I need to drive listeners to the podcast. Podcast doesn't live on Instagram, but I can get people over to YouTube. I can get people over to Apple and to Spotify with my Instagram. I was very, very focused on that. I thought that was the only way. That way or no other way, which is not true, which I found out obviously later. But the fear of missing out, I want to talk about this just real briefly. We're going to get into it later. But the fear of missing out and the fear of not being seen are two stronghold, irrational emotions that will keep all of us stuck on social media. So I'm going to touch on that later. But you guys, one day I was listening to a business development podcast, right? I've been working on creating my weight loss coaching business and my podcast. And the topic of this particular episode was how I grew my business by $20,000 in 1 month by giving up social media. Now, there's a lot of catchy words in that title, like the $20,000 in 1 month, but I didn't really care about that. I was like, I heard and saw by giving up social media. I was like, I'm definitely listening to this. Now, the timing of this episode and when it came out was nothing less than a major sign from God, because I had already been feeling like I was addicted to this stuff and it was crippling me. And he was definitely telling me, like, I am guiding you to finally give this up. Like, you can do this. Listen to this story. Well, the woman's story was extremely powerful. It was obviously centered around business development and refocusing on actual money-making tasks, right? Actually refocusing her time instead of content creating for social media, but doing the things that are going to drive revenue to her business. Same for me. Like, I needed to be, if I wanted to have a podcast, I needed to be recording episodes, editing episodes, publishing the episodes. That wasn't happening. If you're a business owner, this is a little side note, I can tell you right now, social media has the worst return on investment ever, especially when we're considering time. Even worse if you're running ads. Ads are so expensive, and just the time investment is so immense that you really don't get hardly anything back from it. But the one thing that she said that I cling to this day is nothing is going to happen to you. And I mentioned just a minute ago that the fear of missing out and the fear of not being seen, right? You're like, I'm going to completely be disassociated from my social group. No, you're not. No. And if you're thinking about it from a business perspective, I'm going to lose all my customers. They're not going to follow me. They're not going to come shop with me. They're not going to buy my services. They're not going to look to me for advice or whatever your business is. Not true. She said it over, nothing is going to happen to you. And that really helped me let go of that irrational fear, right, that I was talking about. So that summer, this was about a year and a half ago, that summer, we took a trip to New York City as a family, and I posted on Instagram throughout the trip lots of great stories and just post in the feed to share our travel through New York City and New England. And I made one last post, I remember, in Central Park. It's the cutest picture of my kids. And that was it. I left social media for 8 months solid after that post. And let me tell you, it felt really good just to be like, see ya. I didn't tell anyone. That was the last post and I stopped posting. So during that time, I refocused my attention on really meaningful things, like finally launching this podcast. Let's go. Woohoo. Here I am. Recentering my Christian faith, spending more time with my kids and husband, and actually experiencing life without worrying about missing a video opportunity for other people to see. Like, why do I care if my neighbor sees my stroll through Central Park? Like, I don't care. I want to remember that for my own self and to maybe revisit it with my family later in life. But like, it's really just, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? And posting on social media on that same point, it's extremely rooted in narcissism. Narcissism is quite nasty. It's like you want to show others something amazing and it's from a good space, which isn't necessarily bad, but really what you want is to see how many hearts you get, how many comments you get. That's not a good place to live in. It's quite dark. And I don't want you to feel like I'm lecturing you, because I'm really talking to myself. I've been working through this for a long time. And when I see kind of that dark side of it and see it from me, you know, I even did this last night. I posted a story of my daughter on her birthday. It was kind of funny. She got this really cool gift, and I posted it just to show everyone. When I woke up this morning, I was like, who looked at it? I want to know who looked at it. And it's like, who cares? I don't care if they look at it. That was a moment between myself, my daughter, and our family, our intimate family in our living room by ourselves. Who cares? It's just quite odd. It's a really, really weird relationship that we have with social media and others on social media. But I can say that because, you guys, I'm living this. I was there. And honestly, I'm there right now again. That's going to change after this episode, by the way. But listen up. And it actually has been changing. I haven't been posting that much on my podcast Instagram account. But listen, as you listen to this episode, I want you to tap into its core message regarding your weight loss and healthy living routines. Where are you focusing your attention right now? Here's some hard truth. Consistently saving workouts, high protein recipes into your Instagram albums, on your Pinterest boards doesn't help you lose weight or move closer to being fit, strong, and toned. It doesn't give you your energy back or make you any happier. And if you're listening to this, chances are you're feeling like I was, a literal slave to the algorithm. Like your entire world lives in those little 7-second video clips in the palm of your hand. Fearful you'll miss your bestie's baby announcement or your son's Friday night football photos. Nervous you'll miss out on everything. No, you won't. You'll be free. So free, in fact, that it will feel like an immense weight has lifted off your shoulders the moment you decide to let it go. And you'll gain something so valuable that you've been missing: your time and your health. So let's talk about your time. I want to talk about time because time is the number one thing that is holding women back from hitting their weight loss goals. I've talked about this multiple times. I've surveyed a bunch of women, hundreds of women. I've coached a bunch of women. And I always ask them, what has held you back in the past, or what was keeping you from starting ever? And it's always time. I don't have enough time to do this. I don't have enough time to get to the gym. I don't have time to cook for myself. My kid's sports schedule is too heavy. I can go on, fill in your own blank, but time is always of the essence. And that's really for most things. And so I think it's really important to speak about this and to uncover and peel the Band-Aid off about what's actually going on with your time. When people come to me and say, I don't have enough time, well, I actually will ask them about their social media habits, because that's something in this modern world that we have to consider when we feel like we don't have enough time. So on average, we spend 2 hours and 40 minutes a day. Yes, I said a day on social media. Girl, that is so crazy and unhinged. Like, I can't even handle it. Like, it blows my mind every time I see that stat. And I'm going to pull back the curtain here a bit. I just looked at my own screen time, and I'm peaking at about 2 hours and 41 minutes on social media per day. So yes, the stats are true. I'm a walking statistic of social media use. And I challenge you right now to go into your cell and open up the screen time app and look at your screen time for social media. It will shock you and hopefully horrify you enough to finally give up this addiction. You guys, 2 hours and 40 minutes is pretty much 3 hours. I can't even speak to it. Like, it's insane. Your health is a huge factor here. It's at risk because of this behavior, because of this focus on social media. First off, your mental health. So studies show that increased social media use correlates with anxiety, stress, often due to social comparison. This is a major concern for me as a weight loss coach. I'm your weight loss coach in your little ears right now, okay? So even if I'm not personally coaching you one-to-one, when I do these podcasts, I essentially want to be coaching you in your ears while you're washing dishes, while you're driving. So this is a huge concern for me. Social comparison will kill you. It will kill you mentally. It's just going to crush your sweet personality and your confidence. As a weight loss coach, as your friend, I don't want you to be in that space. We can't avoid negative emotions entirely. That's not realistic. But when we can recognize spaces or activities, behaviors that are causing negative emotions and keeping us from feeling good about ourselves, that's going to impact our ability to take action on any goals, especially our weight loss goals. I want to keep sharing my story because I want you to know, like, I go through this too. I've gone down this rabbit hole, and not necessarily with weight loss social media posts, but I go down the comparison trap when I'm looking for ideas to create content around my industry, right? Around weight loss coaching, around nutrition, around workouts. And there's a bunch of content out there, and I'm sure you guys see it, but I'm like looking for ideas, scrolling on social media, what's trending, what can I do that could be entertaining, or what information are people really talking about right now? Like, good intentions, doing research, trying to be relevant and get you guys what you need. But then I quickly, you guys, start going down this nasty thought chain, this thought train of comparing myself to other women who are sharing the same and similar content. I don't have a beautiful kitchen to film in, to do recipes in. My home gym isn't lit perfectly. My videos are too dark. I stumble on my words when I speak on camera. How does she do that? I can't never do that without stuttering. I don't like wearing makeup most days, so I don't feel confident or worthy enough to be on camera. How does that girl have time to get ready to do all this every day? And then I see others with perfectly curated, edited reels with trending audio, all the right cuts and edits. And I think, why can't I do that? They seem so much better than me. They've got all the followers, all the engagement. They're selling their favorite products, making money for their families, all the things that I want to do. I start scrolling with joy and end up feeling frustrated, anxious, and self-conscious and defeated. Now, that's all centered around my brand and my business, but you, my friend, go down the same negative rabbit hole when you compare your weight loss journey to others. You start to feel inadequate, hopeless, and incapable of getting the results like you see online. The cycle keeps you scrolling, keeps you saving workouts, recipes you'll never actually use. You're essentially keeping yourself stuck, doing nothing about the goal you went on social media to find a solution for. I do not want that for you. I want you to feel inspired, confident, and capable. But studies are showing that social media doesn't make most women feel those great feels, right? Not only is your mental health compromised, you guys, but your confidence gets crushed over and over again. We've talked about your time and how it's literally stolen from you when you're scrolling. So now let's talk about how social media is affecting your physical health. Typically, when we're scrolling, you're stuck in one position. You might be standing, but you're not moving around. You're stationary. Most likely, though, you're sitting, barely moving anything but your finger while your neck is cranked down looking at your screen. When we're stuck in the same position for long periods of time or spending 2.5 hours, you guys, or almost 3 hours a day being physically still, it takes a mega toll on your body physically. Aches and pains increase, muscles weaken. It becomes even harder to lose weight because you're burning fewer calories, not moving around. And don't forget, your mental health is suffering at the same time. My goal is to encourage you to move more, not just for your workouts, but in everyday life. When you're doom scrolling on social media, you're not doing anything but burning our eyeballs with useless stuff. Most of it anyway. Most of it's useless. Now, I'll admit there are good things about social media. Recipes. Let's go. How many great recipes and cooking tutorials, recipe tutorials are out there? That is such a great use and tool of social media. I love seeing Christian content. So like worship songs and, pastors doing mini sermons on their, I love stuff like that. Really positive stuff. Or, ideas for birthday parties for your kids, all things that are positive and great. Seeing your friends, right? That's always really positive to see your friends doing great, having good times on vacations, and, just interacting with your friends and your family, the people that you love most dearly. That's absolutely a positive aspect and use and experience when we're talking about social media. And if you saw, I kind of talked about this before, if you saw my DMs with my best friend, you would die laughing. We find, oh my gosh, I love opening her DMs because I'm like, what am I going to find today? And hopefully she feels the same when I send her stuff too. We find the weirdest stuff, the funniest reels. And, we send them back and forth pretty much all day long. I woke up this morning to like a bank of, 5 reels that I needed to watch. And they were all quality. Thank you, Laura. We love sharing them and cracking up together. And it's something that we like to do together. And that's super positive. But today, you guys, let's get honest. If I were coaching you in our very first meeting, I would tell you this. You'll start to see results the moment you get honest with yourself. So let's start right now. We're going to get honest with yourself, okay? You want to lose 10, 20, maybe even 30 pounds. You're feeling stuck. unable to make progress. You're a busy mom, desperate to change. You want to get back the energy and spark you had before you had the kids or before you had multiple kids, right? Maybe you just had one and then now you have 2, 3, 4. They are such a blessing. I love those little people. But you want to feel confident in your clothes again, and not just healthy, but not lethargic. You don't want to be stuck and unmotivated. You want that vigor back, that spark, that glow. So let's be real. How much time are you spending every day on social media? I would ask you that in our first coaching session. If you told me you didn't have enough time, which every single person does. And we've already did that little check-in, that gut check earlier in the episode where I said, hey, check your social media screen time. I don't know how it is on other phones. I have an iPhone, but it's so easy. You can just go into the settings and look, and it breaks it down by application. So definitely do that and give yourself a little gut check. Like I said, mine was 2 hours and 41 minutes a day on Instagram. How does that even happen? Like, what am I doing? And of course, it's like broken up throughout the day. So that's why it seems like it's not that much, but it's adding up. Like every time I'm opening it, it's adding up. So it's probably the same for most of you. And I know that most of you are on there because I can see when people are on or people DM me right back. I have a lot of friends that they're really quick to respond to my DMs. Like I don't do that, but that means that they're on socials. Like that's wild to me. And I love interacting with my besties on there, but it's just a really important thing for you to get honest with your behavior around social media. And it doesn't need to be Instagram. It could be Facebook. It could be TikTok. It could be X, whatever your go-to is, you guys. So get serious about it. Have a look, open up your phone and see how many hours a day you're on social media. And let's start right here. Let's get real. I used to tell myself all the time, I'm too busy. I don't have enough time. I don't know what to do to hit my goals. This is too hard for me. I'm not good at this. I just can't stay consistent. I'm never going to get there. Does that sound familiar when it comes to your weight loss goals? Well, the moment I decided to let go of social media, literally the moment, my thoughts shifted. Like I let this go. I let this thing that was holding me captive go. Suddenly, I was able to start planning when I'd work on my goals, scheduling tasks that actually mattered, finding out what I needed to learn to reach those goals, tackling hard things without frustration because I had time and energy, getting good at my new routines, staying consistent, and finally getting results. Here I am talking to you all because I got 2.5 hours of my life back every single day and let my mind focus on what really counts, the real stuff, not the stuff on your phone. I was able to watch my own progress, not everyone else's, and definitely not strangers. Isn't that weird how we follow strangers for so long that we start to kind of feel like we know them? I'm kind of spinning out here for a second, but they don't even know we exist, yet we know their families, their homes, what kind of car they drive, what foods they eat for dinner, where they work. And when they're fighting with their husbands, it's so insane. You guys are really, really weird. But how about this instead? Focus on interacting with your real life neighbors, your friends, your community. Doing that will boost your mental health instead of suck it from you like social media does. And it will encourage you to start moving more instead of sitting and scrolling. And while you're at it, focus on your goal of losing weight instead of someone else's goal of losing weight, watching someone else be successful. You get to be the star of that story. I don't know if it's just my algorithm feeding it to me. It probably is because, the phone's always listening. But I feel like it's tapped into my brain cells, which is totally weird. But there's definitely a growing trend of taking social media breaks. I've been seeing a lot of reels about it. I've seen YouTube videos about it. 30-day social media cleanses or digital cleanses, social media fasts. People are even calling them fast, even people hanging it up forever, which I am working towards. And honestly, I think you should do this too. I'll be posting a few final Instagram updates on the podcast Instagram feed to direct new listeners and you guys to the podcast here on YouTube or other audio platforms. But after that, it's going static. no more updates, because I'll be doing bigger, better, and more impactful things right here on the podcast where I can actually connect with women on a deeper level. I'm so thankful and grateful that you're here listening. The day I stepped away from social media for 8 months, I was happier, more motivated, and deeply focused. Life just felt different. It felt rich and robust. Social media is sucking the light and energy right out of your eyes. It's causing you anxiety and keeping you stuck, friend. Remember, if you want to see weight loss results, you have to get honest with yourself. So when you tell yourself you don't have enough time to work out or make a healthy meal, is that true? If I could hand you 2.5 hours or almost 3 hours back per day, just by encouraging you to step away from social media, would you take it? Here's my dare for you. Delete your Instagram app right now. Delete the other ones too, Facebook, X, TikTok. You don't have to delete your accounts yet. I'm getting close to that. I've screenshotted all my photos of my kids and really close to leaving completely. I know that's a big ask, but just delete them off your phone just so you can't have access to them. And if you're wondering, but how will I communicate with my friends? Well, if they're your real friends, they'll have your number or your email. And if they don't care enough to reach out to you, they're probably not your real friends. That may sound heavy, but it will help you see who truly matters in your life. And more importantly, it will open the door to clarity and full action towards your weight loss goals, because you won't be scrolling, doing absolutely nothing. No more holding you back. No more feeling stuck or overwhelmed by 1,000 different meal plans, different workouts, and quick fixes thrown in your face. That's the other thing that's challenging for me as a weight loss coach, is that social media and the trends, they shift so quickly, and you can actually see it happen. If you're in this space, you can see like what's really popular right now. So the time of recording this, it's weighted vest, high protein meals. High protein is, I argue, is not a trend. It's a requirement. It's not like trendy, like keto or, a paleo diet. It's necessary, but it has become very trendy and has become top of mind in that space right now. So those ones definitely keep an eye out for. But, you can see the trends. What's going on. Pilates is very trendy right now. But it's just always in your face. Like, this is what you need to do. That's what you need to do. Every reel could say something different when you're really going on there looking for a solid strategic strategy, but you've got 47 different recommendations from 47 different people, and you're just saving them into your albums, doing nothing with the information because you're stuck in analysis paralysis. So just focus on your goal, your plan, your progress, your results. I'd love to know your experience with social media after you've listened to this. Do you feel like you're addicted? Maybe this episode opened your eyes a little bit to how deep you are into this habit. Are you thinking about taking a break? So let me know in the YouTube comments or send me an email. My email is hello@thehealthhobby.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you. And I want to encourage you to share this specific episode with your best friend, because I'm sure you're connected with your best friends on social media. And if you're thinking about leaving, it's always easier to kind of do something wild and crazy. And this feels wild and crazy to leave social media. I know. And in this day and age, you're like, well, that's insane. How am I going to get my news? How am I going to get this and that? Well, there's newspapers. You can go online and read news like literally on a website. You don't have to get it from social media. You can get it on YouTube. Lots of options to stay connected with the world. The whole world is not in social media reels and clips. It is outside of that. It is around you. It is in your home. It's in your churches, at your school functions. It's at the sports games. It's at the meal, at the dinner table. It's all around you. It's not in your phone. So are you going to take a break? How do you feel about this? How do you feel like social media is hindering your weight loss results? Or do you feel like it's helping your weight loss results? Let me know. I'd love to know your perspective. Again, YouTube comments is a great place to connect with me or send me an email. I really took a step back and posting on my social media for the podcast. I have really only been socializing on my personal page, which is a private page, and just posting about the kids' sports pretty much, just really took a step back, and I feel a lot better about it. And I don't feel so stressed and strapped for time. So I do want to encourage you guys, if you're feeling like you're strapped for time, take a look, get off social media, get into life again, you guys. Give it up. It's not serving you. Your life is waiting for you outside of your phone, I promise. All right, guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. If you have any questions, topic requests, want to chat, email, put it in the YouTube comments, and I'll catch you on the next episode.